Calaroga Shark Media.
I'm Johnny Mack with your daily comedy news. Chris Rock is trying to recruit USC Trojans quarterback Caleb Williams to come play for the New York Jets. Chris Rock may have forgotten that they signed Aaron Rodgers. He's pretty good at football, you know? Social media videos show Chris Rock talking with Williams ahead of USC's game against the Oregon Ducks. During the interaction, Chris Rock emphatically pleads for Caleb Williams to join the Jets next season. Rock said, "That's Jets. That's who we want." Williams laughed. Rock said, "The Jets. You want the Jets so bad. You don't want to go to Chicago. You want the Jets. You don't want the," and he used the former name of the Washington NFL team. I'm not going to use that word, Chris Rock. They currently go by Commanders. You use that other word, and it's not Washington football team either. I digress. You don't want that team. You want the Jets. There's no place you'd rather play than the Jets. Daniel Tosh has a new podcast out today. It is called Tosh Show. Good name. This comes 3 years after Comedy Central canceled Tosh.0, so that's where Daniel's been. On Tosh Show, Daniel Tosh will interview people from all walks of life and share his perspective on current events, as well as share a glimpse into his own world. However, it will not be your traditional celebrity and comedian interview show, but Daniel Tosh will search out people who pique his curiosity, including his plumber, his stylist, his car guy, his wife's gynecologist, his favorite drag queen, and more. He'll discuss topics such as religion, travel, sports, and gambling. Been doing this a long time. That description I just read you is telling me nobody knows how to describe the show. Daniel Tosh, very talented. This might get by on talent alone, but I'm telling you, I've been doing this for a long, long time. That is an unfocused description. Tosh said, "I've grown over the past 3 years. Literally, I thought I was 6'3". Turns out I'm 6'4". I think the listeners will appreciate my new perspective." A Suit said, "With Tosh Show, listeners can effect a refreshing and fearless take on a wide range of topics." Again, I'll jump in there. Once you start doing the generic wide range of topics, that means nobody knows what this show's about. A refreshing and fearless take on a wide range of topics from a beloved voice in comedy. We're excited to share this hilarious, entertaining, and thought-provoking podcast with listeners everywhere. Despite my negativity of the copywriting, I'm excited for this one. I have already become a follower. Got a bunch of mini controversies for you today. Bill Burr's wife. She was at Madison Square Garden. She was not there to see Bill Burr. She was there to see the Ultimate Fighting Championship. In walks Donald Trump. With Trump, Tucker Carlson, Kid Rock, Trump Jr., and Dana White. That's the guy that runs UFC. We find out Mrs. Burr, apparently not a fan. In a video clip you'll see all over social media, Mrs. Burr is seen frowning and gives a 2-finger salute, 1 finger from each hand. People are assuming this was about Trump. Maybe she's just not a fan of Kid Rock's music, huh? More controversy. Matt Rife did a TikTok for Men's Health magazine. On the TikTok, Matt Rife claimed that being physically attractive was not helping his career. I like Matt Rife. I find him very thoughtful. I'll chime in. Being physically attractive isn't hurting your career either. Rife said, "People don't want to laugh at physically attractive people. You don't want to walk on stage and people looking at your arms rather than listening to your jokes. I think it just makes me work that much harder." Someone on social media wrote, "I feel seen. The struggle is real." Rife doubled down on his comments. He went on the Today Show and said, "I would say it's harder because of the fact that this conversation is even happening. But the fact that I said it and I'm doing Men's Health magazine, which seemed like the perfect context to talk about the shape you're in, I would say it definitely doesn't help. Because people don't like you. People assume your life is easier when you have all these good things going for you. There's nothing funny about somebody living an easy life, or so you would assume. So that's why I would say it's a little bit harder. You have to win people over more often." Again, I've listened to several interviews with him. I find him very thoughtful. Saturday Night Live in a kerfluffle. Took a couple days for people to notice that one joke referenced the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. Timothy Chalamet was your host and did a skit with Please Don't Destroy. Timothy played a character who's an aspiring musician who wanted to end his life. John Higgins from Please Don't Destroy says to the character, "There must be someone or something you care about." Chalamet said, "I guess it's my music." Chalamet's character plays a song for the group. They're not impressed. But he asked them, "Will you share it on Instagram?" The group agrees and asks Chalamet's character for his Instagram username. He says, "It's Hamas, Hamas." Martin Hurley from the Please Don't Destroy guy says, "Yeah, dude, I'm not sharing a song by Hamas on Instagram." One Twitter user wrote that Timothy Chalamet SNL sketch about Hamas is actually one of the worst tone-deaf and disgusting things I've ever seen. More controversy. The Simpsons. Is Homer going to choke Bart or not? People were upset that he wasn't choking Bart. Well, maybe he is going to choke Bart. Is that what you wanted? James L. Brooks told people, nothing's getting tamed. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Bart will continue to be strangled, if you want to use that awful term for it. He'll continue to be loved by his father in a specific way. Tom Segura has announced a new tour. It is called Tom Segura Come Together. In a statement, Segura said, this tour is bigger and blacker than anything I've ever done. But that name's already been used. But Come Together gets the point across. Let's all come together for a night. One way or another, we're going to make memories on this one. Ticket buyers in some cities will have the option to purchase a platinum charity ticket. Segura will donate a portion of the platinum ticket sales proceeds to World Central Kitchen, a nonprofit devoted to providing meals in the wake of natural disasters. The pre-sale is tomorrow, 10 a.m. Information at tomsegura.com/tour. Some of the cities, won't read them all, but let's see what's interesting here. Honolulu, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Singapore, then Corpus Christi, Texas. He hits the South out in April. He'll be out in the West. And it all wraps up June 15th in Bangor, Maine. John Oliver joked that the SAG strike finally ended, meaning that movies will be back in production, although, to be honest, I'm not even sure that I need movies anymore since this 17-minute video was released of what I can only describe as a hamster Gatsby living its best life. He then showed a video titled The Awesome Hamster Ball Pool Maze. That video's gotten 1.4 million views on YouTube. John said, it's a complete masterpiece, and it goes on for 16 more minutes. I mean, Barbenheimer was fine. I liked it fine, but let's be honest, it's just not as good as that. Weird Al promised that he'll be making some new music in 2024. Al said, I don't think there's going to be like another bona fide Weird Al album per se, but I want to keep writing music. Whatever projects come up, I want to be able to write for TV and films, and maybe the occasional single now and then. In fact, I will make a commitment. I will put out at least one new single next year. That got cheers from the audience. Adam Sandler showed up at the Milwaukee Public Market on Saturday, a couple hours before his sold-out show. Market security guard D'Angelo was there and said, I was doing my normal patrols, walking through, scanning the area. And then I noticed it was Adam Sandler. He was like, you got me, copper. Sandler took off his hood, took some pictures with everyone. D'Angelo said, you rarely see a legend like that. I'm used to seeing celebrities, but we saw a real legend. The last story in today's podcast will be major spoilers for the newest episode of Rick and Morty. I will warn you before I dive into that story, and it's not yet. Steve-O has a new special out today, Steve-O's Bucket List. The official copy tells us if you thought Steve-O was crazy before, then you'll have to brace yourselves for his new act. Steve-O told Deadline, I've poured my heart and soul into this show, and I can't wait to unleash it on the world. You'll find it on steveo.com. I'm seeing something labeled as the Sacramento Comedy Festival, but I think it's just a show because I saw the exact same lineup being referred to as the Orlando Comedy Festival. Whatever this is, a star-studded lineup of renowned comedians is heading to the Hard Rock Hotel in Sacramento. It will include Bill Bellamy, some more, Lavelle Crawford, and Don D.C. Curry. And again, that same lineup is playing Orlando, so not really sure it's a festival. Fun story from Chicago Eater. Two pairs of comedians go head-to-head in a battle that asks not only if they're funny, but can they cook? Yes, it's Sautéed Standup, a mix of joke-telling and food TV tropes that aims to set audiences on fire without literally burning the place down. And yeah, they got to be careful. They said on our first show, we almost burnt the venue down twice. We melted through 2 extension cords. All right, be careful when you do Sautéed Stand-Up. Here are the rules. Complete a dish alongside your teammate, 3 servings, 1 per judge, typically a local chef or a member of the food media, while making the audience laugh during a 10-minute stand-up set. The team with the best dish wins, so even if your jokes bomb, you can still go home a winner. Teams are given an allowance the Friday before an event to shop for ingredients anywhere they want. At showtime, a mystery ingredient is dropped on the contestants. Surprise ingredients in the past have been fish sauce, butternut squash, caviar. With time, budget, and equipment limited, controlled chaos often ensues. One of the creators said, we've had people on the show who don't care about the cooking at all. They'll make grilled cheese, but they don't use butter and the cheese doesn't melt. They just do a really bad job. They'll put cheese and bread in a pan and move it around the pan for 40 minutes. Meanwhile, the chefs are people who normally aren't on stage. And when they're on stage and get a laugh, it's like that first hit of drugs. Whoa! It's so funny to see someone do the show for the first time and say something the crowd finds hilarious. There's this look in their eyes. You could see it. Sautéed Stand-Up at the Lincoln Lodge, Sunday. They hold shows the first and third Sundays of the month, and this one is a third Sunday. You should go. All right, gonna spoil Rick and Morty's newest episode. If you want to be spoiled, you can check out now, and I'll see you tomorrow. Everybody else, gonna spoil Rick and Morty. Are you ready? The Rick and Morty team talked to Variety about the spoiler, which is, all right, I've warned you enough. The death of a major character plus a new supervillain in Unmortricken. Appears to be a standard Rick and Morty adventure until Morty goes on a rampage, dons an eye patch, and becomes the figure fans know as Evil Morty. People have been complaining there hasn't been enough Morty this season. Evil Morty is a super intelligent version of regular Morty. After previously ruling the Citadel, Evil Morty is now settled in his personal fortress of solitude. An entire arc compressed into a 4-minute cold open. Meanwhile, Rick C-137, the main Rick that we normally follow around, that Rick is on a mission to track down Rick Prime, who's the Rick that originally invented portal travel and killed C-137's wife Diane and daughter Beth. Are you following on all this? A bored, jaded Evil Morty tags along as they discover Rick Prime has rebuilt the Omega device, a super weapon that terminates all versions of its victims like Diane. Rick C-137 kills Rick Prime with his bare hands, but at the expense of letting Evil Morty escape. Showrunner Scott Martyr said that episode would have been a series finale on a lot of shows, and I liked that it was just an episode in the middle of one of our seasons. We move at a really crazy pace. The demise of Rick Prime is being compared to the death of Logan Roy in Succession. Yeah, I guess. Although when the Succession episode happened, they had already planned this on Rick and Morty. Martyr said, animation takes so long. Co-creator Dan Harmon said, I thought it was a great idea to lean into. It gave me vibes of The Wire. Learning throughout the first season that there's different flavors of bad guy, and then you get the satisfaction of watching your favorite drug dealers against the one that had absolutely proven himself to be a meritless sociopath. The idea of team-ups, where it's not as simple as, I'll put on a white hat, you put on a white hat, and we'll go after the guy with the black hat. Harmon said, I think there's still a conclusion to a story here because the narcissist would tell you that destroying yourself doesn't solve the problem. And that is your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the show, tell somebody about it. And you can follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Meet you here tomorrow.